was a hot topic among physicists in the world to determine the structure of the atom. One such notable experiment was done by a New Zealand-born physicist named Ernest Rutherford. In 1905, Rutherford wanted to test the plum pudding model proposed by J.J. Thomson. Now, the plum pudding model is a positively charged globule with negatively charged electrons embedded into it. In this experiment, he directed a positive beam of alpha particles at a very thin gold leaf suspended in a vacuum. Now, the vacuum is important because any deflection of the alpha particles would only be because of the collisions with the gold foil and not of any air particles. And the gold was used because it was the only metal malleable enough to be so thin without cracking. Now, in this experiment, the alpha particles were generated from a radioactive source. The detector of the alpha particles were a phosphorescent screen surrounding the gold foil. When the particles came into contact with the screen, there'd be a flash. If the plum pudding model was true, then the positive alpha particles would pass straight through the globule of the plum pudding model.
The scientists were very surprised by the results of the experiment. They observed that most of the alpha particles went straight through the gold foil. A few of them were deflected by very large angles, and an even smaller number of them were reflected back onto the radioactive source. Rutherford considered these observations, and he concluded that since most of the alpha particles went through undeflected, most of the space inside the atom must be empty. The small number of alpha particles being deflected at large angles suggests that there is a concentration of positive charge in the atom. And the smaller number of alpha particles being reflected back onto the radioactive source suggests that the size of the nucleus in comparison to the atom is very small. In fact, an analogy of this comparison is, if you were to remove all the space inside the atom, then the entire of Earth could be squished down to the size of a ping pong ball. Rutherford's experiment gave a more descriptive, a more accurate picture of the structure of atom and paved way for modern atomic physics and chemistry.